Hello and welcome back to the colony with Man of the Antz, having another attempt at Derail Valley today, and it's a bit of a last-ditch attempt. If you've watched the last few videos, you know we've had some issues with some sudden and irregular derailing, is what I'm going to class it as. So we're going to have one final attempt at doing a journey. We see how we go. There has been at least one patch since the last video, but I don't think it had any derail enhancements in it, or fixes, I should say, not enhancements. We want to enhance the derailing. It's already a bit too crazy. So we are over in, I think it's Oculus Valley in town, I believe. Where was the station? There it is. So let's pop in here. Now, if I recall correctly, when we left off last time, we took a quick look at the jobs. And, I'll tell you one thing we don't have, and that we do not have the options for, we can change seated to room scale, as I am now actually stood up. My foot is still a little bad, but not as bad as it was. So put it on smooth, so I do have the option of moving when I want to. So there were a couple of small haul-in jobs going not too far away at all. But that one there only seems to be one small one this time, so that's going to be the one. Some slightly weird issues going on when I'm picking things up, but we won't worry about it too much. Just check the height. The height's pretty much perfect. A little off, tiny bit off, but it's not bad at all. So this is the job we're going to take, so we're going to pop that there. For now, we're going to go to goods factory in town. So we're going to go from food factory to goods factory, just down there. And if I remember, that is the one we actually looked at previously and thought might be a good fit for us. So we're going to go and jump in our shunter. There's a second shunter there, but we're going to go and jump in ours, because it's mine, and I want to use mine. So, the job is to pick up 4 coaches, or 4 cars, from Food Factory at Track SO1. Track SO1 in Food Factory. I've got no idea which way we're facing. Where's the map? We are facing south. So we are facing towards that exit there. So SO1... There isn't an SO1. Food Factory, SO1. Does not exist. Okay. CFF018. What we'll do then is we'll just try and find the cars themselves, seeing as the track doesn't seem to exist. SO8, SO7. SO1, there it is. 20, 19, 18. So we do actually have more attached than we need here. Let's take a final look at this. CFF 18, 19, 20, 21. So we need these 4 here. So we need to get our car from there over here. So that one needs to be changed. Let's change all these now so we know that they're right. That one needs to be changed. That one needs to be changed. That one needs to be changed. And any chance this one needs to be changed as well? Well, 100% there is, yes. So they are now all in the correct position. We can just let that'll spawn back with us in a moment. Do we need to worry about this one? No, we don't, because we're going to come down this way. That'll be very foolish. Get in there. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get... Oh, hello. A little bit of frame drop there. Let's get that fixed. Let's get all these lights on. I did see there was a headlight fix of some form. I don't know exactly what that entails. I did say when I was going through the tunnels previously that I thought that the tunnel should be a bit darker and the lights a bit more effective. So we'll see if that is one of the things that has been resolved. And both Andy and Indy, who have played this a little bit themselves, commented on the last video about my unexpected derailing, and both said that the shunter, this particular engine we have, seems to be stable if you go about 25, so not far off what we're going now, about 25 kilometers an hour seems to be the most it can actually cope with. We did actually miss one of the junctions down here, look. So we'll have a look at that in a second. Anything more than 25 on a corner, and it seems to get a bit freaked out. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to keep to about 25. So it'll be a nice sedentary journey. I don't know whether little bit of bumping from the engine, which is freaking me out a little bit. Which way is that going? Yes, that's wrong as well. I don't know whether the other engines, the secret engine or the steam engine, are any better. There are some slight, just weird tracking issues going on, which I do apologise for. I'm not sure what is going on there. So we should follow this all the way around to the right now on every junction. Yes, okay. And then we need the first 4 carriages. So I believe, or I'm going to guess, all the carriages are actually going to be connected together. So we're going to have to connect the engine to the cars and then use the machine behind me, this thing over here, to disconnect the 4th and 5th cars. So all of these should be set to go right. They are indeed. That's perfect. And I did hit record, so I'm not an idiot. I did. Also perfect. And we're getting up there now, so let's turn the engine off. Let it just gently roll up there. And then we shall just gently apply the brake. And then slightly less gently, because we're going to smack it. Perfect. And that's exactly what I wanted. So we've connected those up. So if we now go, go forward a little bit, just enough to make sure the cars are disconnected. Wait for that range to go too far, I guess. That'd be the good. And if we pop out of here, is that connected? It doesn't look like it's connected, but it has pulled them along, hasn't it? I think it's just got quite a wide gap between the those ones for some reason. 20, 19, 18, and then behind 18, huge gap. So that's perfect. So we've got all of the correct cars. So that's something. So let's take the brake off and start ourselves going forward ever so gently. We don't want to go crazy. Let's announce our intention to move, just in case anyone's any sort of... hello, probably a bit too close to my desk there, I suppose. Let's move forward a little bit. So, bit of a snag here, isn't there? We're actually going the wrong way. We actually want to go the other direction. So, what are we going to do about that? I wonder, because this one here looks like it's a clear shot through, doesn't it? So I wonder if we pull the carriages on this bit here, and then we take the shunter up there, if we can get back behind and then take out the other entrance. I wonder if that would work. We'll get the carriage stopped over here. So first of all, we need to make sure that it is past, it's not quite past the junction, is it? It needs to be past that sign, really. It's not too much, though. So we might just be able to fit it. And yeah, we've got a little bit of space there. We could pull the engine forward a bit more on. So if we do that... No, because it's a dead end here, isn't it? Yeah, how do we get... but we can come up this track here. So we could do that, we could come up this track here, all the way up here, all the way up to there, and then we could come back down here. Yeah, so we need to get the cars on this track I'm on now. Okay. So this is doable. Unexpected, but doable. That's fine. It says pull it forward a very slight amount. Enough that it actually moves forwards would be lovely. Thank you very much, train. So if we go there, yeah, it's now past that sign. So if we change that switch to go left, that one's already going right, so that'll take us straight up there as is. So we need to pull the engine forward. We need to change this one. We need to change this one. It's now taking us along here. That one's fine, and that one's fine. We change the one at the end, but we can leave that one. We'll get back to that in a moment. Get in there. So if we disconnect those, take off the brake, inch ourselves forward. Go past this sign here, which is already going... No, it's going right, so we actually need to change that one as well, don't we? There we go. Pop it into reverse, take the brake off, engine on. We should now go all the way to the other end of the station. I immediately feel like that's probably a little bit too much oomph. So we've gone in the right direction there. So we are going to have to pull this backwards. We're going to only be looking through this way, but I don't think that's any major issue. I don't think the reverse is like a car's reverse, where the reverse gear is, you know, not quite as effective at the as the forward gears. Which is very poorly put, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So we've not gone up the dead end, which is good. I'm going to just do myself a little 360 to get untangled from my cable. One day we'll be full wireless, people, and it will be amazing. I know there are other wireless sort of kits out there at the moment, but not entirely sold on them as yet. Or what would be nice is one of those long cables with the sort of retractable pulleys you can have above you, so the cable comes down from above. But I don't hear great things about extension cables either for the Rift, so maybe the next gen will have super long cables, like they probably should. Well, saying that, of course, we've got weird engine change there. We've got the new standard now, don't we? So maybe the next gen headsets will actually be using this new USB-C standard for this VR port that goes on the back of the graphics cards. I know the new Nvidia cards got it. I do know the new AMD cards actually don't have it, despite the fact the new AMD cards, well, AMD were one of the people who signed up to this standard, this industry standard, but then they didn't actually put them in their newest range of cards, which is a little bit surprising. It kind of means if the new VR headsets come out with that cable, they'll either have to come with a breakout box to split that into HDMI or DisplayPort and USB, which will be frustrating, because it means that if that's going to come as standard in the box, everyone's going to have to pay for that, or it'll be an additional cost for those people who need it, which is always also just frustrating. Or it means everyone will just go and buy Nvidia cards. Now, I do currently run an Nvidia card myself, but that's because it was just the best card around at the time. I'd love it if I could have gone for an AMD card. I don't particularly like Nvidia. I'm not a big fan of their business practices, but unfortunately they sell the best cards. That might be a bit much. I don't want to derail. So while that's braking, we can change that sign over. We'll pop that there for now, we might need it again. Put ourselves in forward, take the brake off. I do wish this pointed forwards rather than down. I don't know if that's meant to do with the Vive, perhaps. Do you know the game was sort of developed around? But yeah, it's sort of awkward to hold. My hands are sort of it's pointing further back than straight up. It's at like a 15-degree backwards angle that I need to point it at to get the stat to go straight. So it looks like, as far as I can tell, we're going to go straight towards the carriages, which is great. So the one thing with going backwards is we're not going to be able to keep as close an eye on our speed. We will have to spin ourselves around fairly regularly to keep an eye on that. Because the goal is to not derail this time. That is the dream. I just have to hold the map, I think. So we will come out. We will go up around here. Where will we go then? We will then go down here, along there, straight into Goods Factory Town. It should be a fairly simple route. The only, obviously, potential problem is the risk of derailing. It's a little burst of speed just to get us there slightly faster. But this is pretty much the speed we're going to be at most of the video, unfortunately. I do think this is probably going to be... I mean, I'd love it if I actually managed to make a delivery. But if I do or if I don't, it's probably going to be the last Derail Valley video for now. And then I'll leave it a few weeks until there's been a few more patches, and hopefully they will have resolved this derailment issue a little bit as well. I would also love to see some more. I do know they have the Steam engine, but I think that was what, like 50,000 you needed to unlock the Steam engine? I mean, this job is worth like 5 grand? 4,900 and I have 3, so I'll have 8 grand if I manage to complete this job. That's not a huge amount of money. And it's not even a quarter of the way there, and it's taken me, well, this is what, the 4th, 5th video? So it's taken me a fair while to get to this stage. So trying to build up that money is unfortunately probably going to be a little bit of too much of a pain in the current game state. Can you hitch from the front, I suppose, is an interesting question. Hadn't really considered that. I guess we'll find out. I'm hoping you can. Looks like we can. Perfect. Okay. Into reverse. Brake off. Forward gear. Back. Reverse gear. The opposite to forward gear. Okay. So, on we go. So we're going to follow this, we're going to go right. It's going to be right at this junction. Well, 2 very quick rights in fact, but we probably want to worry at the second one. Right at this junction and then left at the 3rd junction. Okay, let's pop the speed up a little bit. I mean, probably in theory, because we're in a station, we probably wouldn't want to go this fast. But screw the rules, right? We're anarchists. Anarchist train drivers, that's us. One thing I would love to see this game doing is if the game actually does do quite well, which obviously I'd love to see because I hope the developers will then get enough money to do as much as they can with it. I'd love to see the actual train simulator game get a VR edition as well. I do know, as I've talked about Train Simulator and Dovetail games before, and they're not overly keen on doing anything which seems to be work, which seems a bit harsh. They do so many expansions, but so stuff which isn't going to get them a lot of money is what I'd go for instead. I mentioned the fact that they wouldn't support dual throttles for controlling the trains and that sort of thing when I emailed them, so I'd like to think that this would spur them into doing that. And much like with Dirt 2, people really got quite upset about the fact Dirt 2 wasn't planning on doing any sort of VR, and there was an online petition which I actually signed. I also tweeted Codemasters once or twice as well about it. Because the thing that people were annoyed with, people who are particularly into sim sort of racing, was sim racing these days means VR. You can't do sim racing and not include VR. It just doesn't work. And I'd like us to see that go the same way for flight simulators and train simulators as well. Now, flight simulators is potentially a little bit more awkward, just because the people who are really into flight simulators have got full cockpits built, physical cockpits with all the switch panels above, all the switch panels down the sides, proper throttles, all that sort of stuff. So that's not going to be as ideal for VR because they've already invested so much in a non-VR environment. But for car games, you have a steering wheel. At the moment, you have a steering wheel, and you have your possibly a handbrake, which doesn't really matter in terms of VR, and you have a monitor. So all you're doing is replacing the monitor with a VR headset, which is perfect. And it should be the same. It should be the same with train simulator games as well. Even more so, because the controls lend themselves so much more viable. The controls are so much more viable for VR than car. Like if you watch my LA Noire series in VR, trying to drive a car with motion controls as if you're holding a steering wheel isn't particularly easy. It can get quite awkward. And it's fun, but it's definitely not what you'd class as a sim. And and it would never really work in a sim environment, whereas something like this, perfect, absolutely perfect. So we are trucking along at about 20, so we can inch up the speed a little bit, not too much. Again, we don't want to go crazy. Now, Indy and Andy, like I say, both suggested about 25 would be the absolute maximum. I was only going around 30 when I crashed last time, when I derailed last time, which I thought would be more than reasonable. I thought 30 kilometers should be fine, but obviously the game isn't quite in agreement. Oh, that's a very weird sort of texture flicker there. There are some slightly weird performance issues going on today. I'll be blaming it on my my tracking, but I'm not so sure it is. That particular flicker with the graphics there did sort of definitely suggest otherwise. So I guess we're going ever so slightly uphill here, because we are slightly slowing down again, so we'll increase the speed a little bit more again. The concern with this is, of course, when we finish going uphill and we start going downhill, we're going to go really, really flying. So we just about hit 25 there. I love it when you get these lovely, beautiful long views, these long distance views. It looks awesome. And I love these viaduct bridges as well. Well, probably not classed as viaduct, but these arched bridges, I think they look really nice. So this is our first relatively sharp corner that we've had to deal with. We're only going about 21 kph, so we should be fine. In fact, this might be the tunnel that I crashed out of last time. Would it be? No, I didn't even get this far, did I? Because I had to do that whole loop, which I never got round to. It just looks very similar. So we came out of the tunnel, there was a bit of a right after the tunnel, and there was a drop off to the left. If you're going this way, as in the drop off to the left. Obviously to us the drop off's to the right, because we're going in the reverse direction. I don't think we even go into goods factory and or food factory in town last time. Weren't we trying to go to Oil Well North? No, we were going to the steel mill, weren't we? Because we were going from the iron ore mine east. We were trying to go to the steel mill. That was what we were intending to do. What I would like to see is perhaps just, I know it maybe do as an option that you need to enable. I really couldn't find the correct words there. It's just some sort of percentage indicator for this, because it's okay doing that. And I can tell it's a little bit more, but it's hard to tell whether that's a smidgen more or whether I've really gone over the top with it. But I say something that you'd need to enable, because obviously having some number superimposed there or something in like an overlay, UI overlay, would actually sort of go against the whole sim nature of the game, which I can completely appreciate. It's not something that should be there by default. So we are getting some very slightly weird texture issues going on there. Almost like we clipped through a wall in the middle of the tunnel there. Does that lake have a name? No. It's quite a watery area, really, isn't it? It's like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it's like 12 lakes I can see. We're slowing down a fair bit there, so we must almost definitely going uphill a little bit. So we'll crank the speed up. We are just coming up to the first... We are going the right way, although that's a little bit off. The first junction where we need to head to the right to circumvent this loop which would take us back up to Iron Ore East. That feels a bit fast. That does feel a bit fast. That's because it is a bit fast. So what have we got going on here? Just already set to go to the right, this junction switch, so that's fine. Some foliage on the line, but we're going to just power through because we're a dangerous train driver. And some more here. Again, I don't know if they use some sort of procedural generation for a lot of this, but it's clearly not being manually placed, because if if my games artist manually placed a tree on the track like that, I would be fuming with them. So there must be some sort of procedural generation there to do that. What's going on there? Why did I start going backwards all of a sudden? I've got 4 empty cars. I'm getting myself confused now. What is going on? What is going on here? Nope. No. Nope. No. Something that might help us go forward, but it has not. What is going on here then? So did we not have enough speed to get around that corner up there? Because that doesn't feel right. It very much seems like that is at an odd angle to us, doesn't it? Let's pop out there a second. It's derailed. It's bloody well derailed. That's what's happened. Only that front axle as well. What the hell happened? Ah, so there we go then. There we go. That is how our original first short series of Derail Valley finishes, with yet another random derailment. Why am I so low here? That's weird. Oh well. Oh well indeed. So that is what is happening. That's why we can't get anywhere. So what I might just do is just disconnect those. Now what I'd expect to happen there is if I disconnect them, I'd expect to see them roll backwards all on their own. Have I derailed? Oh my word, that's not what I wanted at all. Come on now, game. I do not appear to have derailed. I don't know why when I'm no longer coupled to cars. I'm very, very close to my desk. I'm not sure why I can't go forward. Okay, let's change gear to forward. What is going on? I'm not going mad, am I? That is backwards, right? Quick guide, please. Quick guide to the shunter. Flip the fuse box switches, ignition. Put the reverser in the forward position. That is forward. So now I should go that way. So, somehow... Doesn't like going when you're moving, does it? So somehow... my gear controls got... Not only did I derail, but the derail... my carriage derailed. Oh, we're saying that? Oh, okay. So it seems like to me there's something on this bridge which is causing our gears to swap direction. Why on earth would that happen? Ah, okay. All the glass breaks and everything. Yes, unsurprisingly I derailed there. That was, as I'm sure you could tell, entirely on purpose. I wish you could dismiss that error message as well. I'm well aware I derailed. Although, does it really look like I derailed? Oh, come on! That has to sort itself out a bit as well. That's getting quite frustrating. Nope. Oh! Ah, there you go. You can see I slipped off that side there. Okay, so unfortunately then, as I said, that is how our first little short series of Derail Valley is going to finish. What the hell is going on here? I've got no idea. Is it something to do with a tree that's in the way? Who knows? Quite why that would cause my gears to change direction, I do not know. And what caused that carriage to derail? Was it the fact that I was, my gear suddenly changed, or was it something different to that? Who knows? But as I say, unfortunately, that is how Derail Valley is going to end for the now. I am in the Discord, so I do get notified, or I do take a look every now and then and check the news channel just to see what updates have been out and what has been fixed as part of those updates. So I will keep an eye on that. As I say, maybe in a month's time, a few weeks' time, depending on the patches that come out. Once I see there have been a couple of fixes to try and resolve some of these derailment issues and whatever that weird gear shift issue was there, I will definitely be back in the game. I am very excited about the game still. I do want to see where it goes with the early access and how more fully fledged it becomes. Really excited to see where it goes. Just a little bit frustrated at the moment with some of these bugs, which means that I've, even then when I was being so careful, keeping it below 25 the whole way, apart from a very brief stretch over there where I hit a whopping 30 kph, even then I still managed to derail. And that was one of the shortest jobs in the game as well. That was a $5,000 job, so I think I've seen some 3,500s, but it's not far off one of the shorter routes you can actually do. So a little bit frustrating we can't even do the shorter one. So that, if you remember in the shops that are in some of the stations, you have the option to unlock bigger journeys with longer cars. That to me is a bit of a joke at the moment, because how the hell would you manage to deal with longer cars or longer journeys where I can't even complete a short journey? Oh well, bit of a shame for now, but still very excited to see where it goes is the short takeaway from this. So obviously I'm going to be leaving that there. Hope you've enjoyed this last little look at Derail Valley. Last look for now, I should say, at Derail Valley. If you have enjoyed it, please do click the like button. It really is appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. And questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I see them. Don't forget, we stream every Wednesday at 6 PM, streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey at the moment. Very few trains in it, but it is still a lot of fun. So it'll be wonderful to see some of you there. Otherwise, I will see you next time in, well, in the short term in some other magical VR adventure, and then a bit further down the line back in Derail Valley, which will be very exciting. And as always, thank you very, very much for joining me.